Okay, hi everybody. I started to make a video and then realized I didn't know what I was talking about, so I'm going to try that again. We're going to do two parts of this video because there's going to be two kinds of finesse staffers for the rest of the semester. There's going to be people who can give us basics. You know, you don't have the full computer access, so you give us the designs that you can. And that's going to be sketching stuff out and dropping it in the right folder. And then kind of your job is done. And then the people who have full computers with InDesign on them will turn those into the full designs. So let's quickly look at what we would do with the sketches, and then we'll go from there. So in our team drive right here in Google, if you look at magazine building, then there's fantasy pages, reality pages, and recipe pages. Inside of those, there are folders for stories. If the story that you were given doesn't have a folder here, you just make it, you go to new, file, folder, and then you put the stuff in it that's supposed to go in. Inside is the full text of the story and the sketch design that you want done. So if you look at, let's go to reality pages, taking out toxic. I've already put in taking out toxic with edits because the person that was assigned that story was kind enough to actually do the proofreading that I asked for, and so that's ready to go. So I put the text in there, so that person is covered. So for this, you would just need to drop in, if you're not already just going to do it automatically, you know, do the full thing. If you're just going to give me the sketch design, drop in your sketch here and drop in the photo that's supposed to go with it, the image. And then your job is done, okay? As long as we get the sketch, the text, and the image, the full designers will go in and they'll fix that up. So there's that. Now, if you are doing the full design, there's a couple of things that you need to do. The first is you've got to install Adobe Creative Cloud. You just Google Adobe Creative Cloud install and you should be able to find the stuff that comes up. And then once you sign into your little cloud task manager, that's this guy here, and that's the little cloud at the top of your screen, then you can download whatever software you want, and then what you want is InDesign and maybe Photoshop depending on what you need to do. So to build the magazine, there's some things that you need to do. The very first thing is you got to go in and install all the fonts which are here. And if the computer you're working on doesn't have Google Drive file stream on it already, which it probably doesn't unless you're using a school supplied computer, which is just John and Taylor, then what you want to do is you also want to Google install Google Drive file stream. So let's say Google Drive file stream. And then download Google Drive. So you want the business one, Drive file stream. You get started. You do that. Download it, install it, use your own school email address and password to sign in, and then all your Google Drive stuff shows up like a folder on your computer. So you would go to Google Drive, and which is a teeny little Google symbol up at the top of your screen, and then you go to Finesse 2020, Magazine Building, and Fonts. And the first thing you got to do is install all of these fonts. So Biggest Things, Black Widow, sorry, this is not a Marvel movie. Bubbly 2, Moonflower. Those are all the fonts that we use for fantasy, and then you install all the reality fonts. And it's really easy to install a font. You just click in there, and then the PNG files you don't really care about. Those are just samples that show you what it looks like. You're looking for either OTF or TTF files. That's the .otf right there. And then you just double click on it, and it'll say install font. You click it, and you say, it may ask you for a password. You put that in, and you're good to go. Do that for every single one. That's how you install it on a Mac. On a Windows PC, it might be a little different. I mean, after you double click on it, I'm not sure exactly what it'll do, but it shouldn't be too complicated. Basically what it's doing is it's adding these fonts to your computer's package of fonts that it uses. And then any text program, Word, Pages, InDesign, all those guys will then pull that font. So you need to be set up to use those fonts first. Then, in, let's say, reality pages, you would go in and you'd find one that you want to work on. Now, this one has the picture that's going in, and it's already got a finished or a mostly finished design. And I'll just show you that real quick. Oh yeah, that's right where I want it. Okay, so on the left is a little bit of information about the fonts that we're using. And on the right is a little bit more. There's a title, author credit, there's a pull quote for interest, and then a great big picture on the right. You want to leave space down along the bottom for us to put in some folio stuff, finesse the theme, page numbers, that kind of thing. And then it's basically done. So to do that, let's take a look at how that works. So let's say let's go to reality pages. Taking out toxic, because we know we've got one there. So inside reality pages, there's a template right here. So I'm going to hit Command C to copy it, or you can right click on it and then say copy. Or let's just say duplicate. And there's my copy, and I'm going to drag that into taking out toxic. So now I have a template that I can work with, and I have not messed with the original template. So I've got my copy there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open that up, and it gives me just this generic thing: title, author place, pull quote, picture, first, last, title, medium. So all this, the basic stuff that's got to go in, and we replace all this with our own stuff. So the first thing I want to do is open up the actual text, which is this document, and I'm just going to copy and paste. I'm not going to copy and paste the title or the author. Let's go in here. I'm going to select all, Command A, and then I'm hitting Command V to paste it in. Now I've replaced that filler text with this. It was one of the best things that has ever... Something didn't work. Let's take a look. Let's try that again. So I just make sure you actually copy the whole text, because that's kind of important. So let's replace that there. And you see I started in this column and it pushed it right down there. So Jillian Watkinson. And I'm going to call this taking out toxic. So if you look at it now, this little red plus came up. That's because I ran out of space in my box. So I'm going to resize the box to go all the way across. And then within that, it's still, the font is a little bit too big. I'm going to go where it says 85 point font up here. Just bring that down a little bit. There's pretty good. Now, let's say I don't actually want that font. If I look at my character styles over here on the right, I have my titles that I can use. There's that one, this one, this one, this one. What do we like? I'm torn between these two. Let's go with this one for now. American Frights, because it's like, I'm going to get rid of this toxic stuff. Okay, taking out toxic, and I'm just resizing the font until it actually fits. And you can change the color and stuff. And then let's make sure that her name is the right size. So under my stuff, I've got credits. That's the size that we want for credits. And then I need to resize this box a little bit. And then we can get rid of this part because that's already in there now. And we can bring this back up. I'm going to check that. I'm going to give that body copy just to make sure, and it is body copy. For a pull quote, you just find something that's kind of interesting. Swimming started to make me miserable. Let's do that. Swimming started to make me miserable. Period. And then I just resize the box. You can manually drag it, or if you right click on it and say fitting, fit frame to content, it'll do that. Now, I personally don't like hyphens if we can avoid them. So let's select that, and then I think it's under paragraphs. Yeah. So I clicked on this little paragraphs formatting controls here, and then there's a hyphenate button there. And that way it's just gonna keep stuff the way, without splitting the words up unnecessarily. So now we're starting to look like we've got a bit of a design. This is, it's not a lot of text for this much page. So we'll probably need to find some ways to make that fill up the space a little bit better. I I don't know what the picture is because nobody's put the picture in yet. But then I would replace this picture with the one that's supposed to go with this. And maybe it's a cool picture that like, here, let's see. Let's take this over here. We're just going to play with the dog picture because everybody likes dogs. And we'll sort of center that in this column. And then let's make this an asymmetrical thing. You can, if you want, if you do a shift click, you can select two things at once. And then they'll go together. So now I've just resized that box. I've got it going across. Let's bring that right up to about there. We'll bring it to that column. And actually, you know what? This one, let's deselect everything. Oops. Command D is place in InDesign. It's deselect in Photoshop. Sometimes I mess those up. So I'm going to bring that over here for now. Fitting. Fit frame to content. That's off your screen, but I'm assuming you guys are looking at fairly small screens, and I'm working on a 4K, so I've made like only a part of my screen visible to try and keep it at a reasonable resolution, but now it's making some issues. So then I can say with this picture, fitting, fill frame proportionately, and we got this big old dog. And it's kind of cutting across the picture there, but his eyes, or her eyes, are right there in the mid, not exactly in the middle. Like, this design is not good. Let me just say that right now, but I'm trying to work kind of quickly and give you the gist of like the process. If I bring this down, and then I bring this across, maybe we'll go right to here, and then see that the frame pushed, there we go. And then we'll resize this again, fitting, fill frame proportionately. That's a little bit better. I don't mind losing a little bit of ear. If you want, you can go to your view here, is go to preview, and it's going to get rid of all your guides and stuff, so you can see more clearly what it is you're working with. I don't hate that. I don't love it. You know, like, now I'm wondering, I lined this up with this line here, but like that line doesn't make sense to me in the real world, right? Maybe it's better to align it this way. And then I can, if I go to my layers, let's see, guides, images, text, everything I just put in the guides. Oh, well, I didn't do that. Whoever. So we can select that, right? Or wait, oh, right click on it, select item. Okay. Can I bring it to the, should be on top. Well, hold on. There's my golden retriever, right? I'm going to drag that into the images layer, and I'm going to hide it. Just looking for this thing. Where's it gone to? There it is. Okay, we're going to bring it up here. All right. So where's my golden retriever? We'll make him visible again, or her visible again, and then bring this. See if you see this gap, the gap is so that when you do text wrap and stuff, it doesn't get right up on the words because that's awkward to look at. And it's a pica, so it's a nice way to space things out. You always want to make sure you don't get anything more than a pica away from something else. So let's say that Bob Jones did this picture. It's called Who's a Good Boy? And it's a photograph. Now it doesn't fit, so we just right click, fitting, fit frame to content. Just kidding. Let's undo that because it's going to make whatever shape frame it wants. We're just going to bring this, and we'll bring this down so that it's right in the bottom. We'll delete the part that says medium. Close that up. Get rid of that extra comma. Drag this back here. Boom, snaps in place. Let's take a look at this. Oh, I'm already in preview, that's right. So Command 0 focuses on one page. Command Option 0 brings you into seeing both pages. I'm going to go back to normal view. And I brought it right to that column there. You know what I think I want to do? Let's drag this column away for a second. Let's just make this one column straight to here. Yeah. Sometimes two columns are nice, but sometimes they're a waste. So like, this is a design I can kind of work with. I'm going to bring this in here and just so that I'm about a pica away from taking out toxic. And then let's bring this up a little bit. I don't know why this column is not going all the way to the margins. It absolutely should be. There we go. We can move this up just a wee bit. And then we're going to drag this guy up so that we're lined up. There we go. And the snap just instantly told me. Fitting, fill frame. You always want to do things proportionally or else your photos are going to get stretched in weird ways that we don't like. All right, let's take a quick look. All right, now I hate where the swimming started to make me miserable thing is. So I'm just going to move that around. And the great thing about text wrap is that it just pushes everything. There should be, if I go to normal, let's just center this. There we go. That just showed me that I'm now centered. Let's go back to preview. So now whoever does this one, all they have to do is switch this picture out and it's basically done. Like maybe play with the color of the title there. If we maybe add a drop cap. There's a thing called Dropcaps. I probably showed you guys how to do it in a previous tutorial and then I've forgotten how to do it myself. So wow. That would be something to add in there. I do like Dropcaps, but the basic stuff of the title, the author, the main text, credits, and the art. Those are all good things. Maybe we'll add a stroke to that. Well, let's just see. Effects, FX, just like, and a drop shadow. Do a little drop shadow. Click preview so we can actually see what we're doing. A little bit of that. We'll turn the opacity way down. You never want your drop shadows too much. There. That's a decent drop shadow. Just gives you a little bit of depth. And if you wanted to add a stroke, you would just go up here. Maybe 2 pixels. 2 points. There we go. I'm going to save that so that whoever's working on this one can just replace the art with what's supposed to be there. But that's kind of our approach. Those of you who are building stuff, you just go in, you dig through the folders and find one that hasn't been done and just do it. If there's already a design in there, leave it alone, unless you're an editor and you want to go in and fix stuff up. But make sure that all the photos and image files that you're working with are in that folder where they're supposed to be, and that's going to make it much easier to get your job done. Okay, good luck.